and it's John Google here with Jo Taranto down at Networking in Nature. We've just wrapped up our final walk through the Botanic Gardens for 2022. It was a beautiful morning. We had such a great crowd and a lot of new people this morning. They're still back at the cafe connecting, but Jo and I have ducked off to do a quick wrap up and just share some of the thoughts and stories that Jo led this morning. So Jo Taranto, thank you firstly for joining us.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. I feel all connected and networked. It's great.
Well, you had quite a receptive crowd today, I would say, because you were talking about your work in sustainability, but also just sustainability and environmental issues more broadly. And that sparked a lot of really passionate sharing and conversation. So if you'd like to just recap, I guess, things that I found really fascinating about your story. There was the personal side, there was the twists and turns that's brought you out of the country and into the city and into the sort of work you're doing. But then specifically, I love within your work how it's all about grassroots mobilization of people and supporting them to make an impact in their area. So do you just want to give just an overview of Good for the Hood and some of the stuff that you shared this morning?
Yeah, so absolutely. I think there's a lot of work that happens in the climate and environment space, which is really top down or grass top sort of work. My interest has always been at the grassroots, and that's, I think, partly because I love seeing people find the things that ignite passion, that really enable them to bring their neighbours, family, friends, communities with them in really positive ways. And I think sometimes we don't think about the social importance and the resilience that comes with environmental action, and we can be really focused on doing this, but we forget that there's so many other flow-on benefits. And so grassroots action is a great way of also giving people competence, new experiences, welcoming new people to the community, connecting organisations that may have never had a reason to connect before. I'm talking sports clubs and churches and cultural groups and business groups. So I think it's just a really beautiful place. It seems to tick, all the areas that I'm passionate about. Growing up in the country, everyone knows everyone. You know what's going on the street in the next kind of town. So you've got a really good grasp on that, what's happening. So I think it's bringing a little bit of that to the city or to whatever communities we're working with. But we're really proud of the work that we do with local governments and councils and businesses to help activate that sense that anyone can step in, anyone can take charge of a project or an initiative, and that really when they do, the flow-on benefits are huge.
Love it, because as you're saying, words are important and strategy and sentiment, but at the end of the day, action is critical, isn't it? And it's not action for others to take, but what you're saying is everyone's actually got a role. And that sort of ties me into the other point of your presentation that was really interesting. You raised this concept I'd never heard of, most people hadn't, liminality.
Yeah.
Because you were sort of painting the picture of some of the big challenges that we've got ahead of ourselves in terms of reinventing the way we live to be more harmonious with the natural world. But I think that concept of liminality was a new way of thinking about it. So maybe just in closing, do you want to share that one?
Yeah, so liminality means sort of to transcend or to move beyond where you've been into another space, and it can be an uncertain or confusing time, disorientating. It can be exciting, but it's a new start, really. And it's often this period of time between two phases. So I definitely think that the world is in liminality. We need to be more aggressively moving through that into decisive, swift, and in some places really quite aggressive climate action. Because we don't have a lot of time in that window of our carbon budget. We've got to do those things quickly. And that can really be very deeply unsettling for community, for industry, for business, for all the things we've known and taken for granted are starting to go, well, hang on, we can't just do what we've always done. So I think accepting and acknowledging that that's tricky, confusing, uncertain, scary, and maybe even, upsetting the way that we've thought that business should always go. So I think I just like acknowledging that where we are, and accepting that, and then listening to the science and going, right, where do you need me? I'm there. But I think we do need to acknowledge that this is an absolute time of transition, and that if we can lean into that in whatever way, you know, in your work, in everyone's work, and also at home, take those actions and don't ignore this. This is not for someone else to solve. This is our situation to solve, and it is so solvable. The climate crisis is so solvable, and I really believe that if we lean in, that we can do it together.
It's an awesome message, Jo. Yeah, and I love the fact as well, it sort of connects into that thing around, you know, often with change comes discomfort in the uncertainty and the unknowing of what you're heading into and what you're transitioning towards. But I think that's a really nice way on the environmental front to think about these things as well. Thanks so much for helping us close out the year in style at Networking in Nature.
It's been beautiful, John.
It's been awesome having you along. You've got a couple of TV shows you mentioned about. You're involved in this one called Planet Shapers that's starting to roll out, so keep an eye out for that. Also, the War on Waste.
There'll be some stuff coming out for next year. They've started putting out calls for talent for people, so check out Loon Media on Instagram. The War on Waste season 3 is coming, which is so exciting. But yes, Planet Shapers on Channel 10. You can check it out on 10 Play, and there's some really great stories about what different industries and businesses are doing in sustainability.
Awesome, and let's all do more.
Let's do more.
All right, see you all again soon.